Module 2, Getting Started with the Cloud. Get started with AWS services. AWS is a customer-centric company. Today, we have over 140 different services, ranging from infrastructure services for foundational resources such as compute, storage, and networking, platform services for common systems like databases, analytics, developer and management tools, and security and enterprise applications. AWS provides a broad set of cloud-based products to help meet your needs. Throughout this course, we're going to be exploring what AWS products and services are available to you that might be the right solution for your needs. We'll begin with a project and the foundational tools that are necessary to start your journey. As we continue, we will incorporate products and services that will assist you with your migration. And finally, we will discuss the reinvention of your business needs along with the cloud. To begin your build, let's discuss our featured services that you can use in your infrastructure. What is Amazon EC2? Amazon EC2 stands for Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud. It is a service that makes it easy to securely provision virtual machines or EC2 instances in the cloud. Amazon EC2 provides elastic or nearly unlimited compute capacity you can provision in minutes, only paying for the resources you use, providing you full access to this resource in an easy, secure, and reliable service. You get full control over the resources you create in Amazon EC2 with SSH and RDP access to Linux and Windows machines. When provisioning an EC2 instance, you have to select an instance type. This is your hardware configuration. There are a lot of options to choose from for your CPU, memory, networking, disks such as NVMe SSDs and hard drives, and GPUs as well. You can find the configuration that suits your workload in EC2. Amazon EC2 integrates with a lot of AWS services such as VPC for networking, S3 for object storage, and Amazon RDS for databases, giving you a wide array of options to store and process data for your applications. We manage the data centers for you, giving you 4 nines availability, giving you confidence when you deploy your applications on EC2. Security is our highest priority. As an AWS customer, you will benefit from the data center and networking architecture built to meet the requirement of the most secure, sensitive organizations. Amazon EC2 works in conjunction with Amazon VPC to provide security and robust networking functionality for your compute resources. Using Amazon EC2 lets you take advantage of Amazon's scale, enables you to pay a very low rate for the compute capacity that you actually consume. Overall, Amazon EC2 makes it easy for you to get compute resources in the cloud to build and deploy your applications. We talked earlier, we have many configurations for your Amazon EC2 instances in AWS. From small instances with 1 CPU and 1 gig of RAM to 128 CPUs with nearly 4 terabytes of RAM. Powered by Intel processors, you can get the resources you need with the latest technologies to run your workload. What's your use case? These are organized first into families. General purpose instances have a balanced CPU to memory and are great for a broad set of workloads. CPU optimized for CPU-bound workloads such as web servers or video encoding. Memory optimized workloads for in-memory databases or caches. Accelerated computing backed by NVIDIA graphics cards for machine learning or rendering. And storage optimized instances with NVMe SSDs or dedicated hard drives for distributed file systems and data warehousing. You can see here the Intel technologies available for each instance type. The C5 compute optimized instances, these instances have 2 times the CPU power to memory, with the latest Intel AVX instruction set making it the preferred choice for video encoding workloads. Another is the M5 next-gen general purpose instances. These instances have 4 to 1 times the memory available, and with also the latest Intel Skylake processors give you better efficiency per watt, making them a great option for general purpose workloads like small websites, development applications, and anything else. What's your platform? Once you selected your hardware configuration, next is to select an AMI or Amazon Machine Image, which determines your platform, either one of various Linux distributions or versions of Windows. Want something else? We have AMIs on the AWS Marketplace from our partners as well as community AMIs from other users on AWS. Or create your own AMI. Store your data. Amazon EC2 is compute. We still need a place to store our data. Amazon EBS. Amazon EBS, or Amazon Elastic Block Store, you can think of it as hard drives in the cloud. Amazon EBS provides persistent block storage volumes for your Amazon EC2 instances. Each EBS volume is automatically replicated in an availability zone to protect from failures. Depending on your needs, there are two main categories. The first is SSDs, or solid-state drives, with general purpose types for most workloads and is a default drive for your Amazon EC2 instances. Provisioned IOP, or IOPS, for workloads in which you need to deliver consistent random input-output performance. The second is HDD-backed volumes, throughput-optimized HDDs for consistent sequential read-write performance, and cold HDDs for lowest cost per gig. You can resize EBS volumes dynamically as your needs change, only paying for the amount you provision, so remember to allocate only what you need and resize when you need more. Backups are also made easy with Amazon EBS using snapshots that back up to Amazon S3. We also support volume level encryption for workloads with sensitive information. Next is Amazon S3, or Amazon Simple Storage Service. Amazon S3 is a highly scalable, durable, and reliable object storage service built to store and retrieve data via the web. Amazon S3 supports unlimited data storage and is stored as objects within buckets. The only limit is 5 terabytes per object. Amazon S3 maintains 3 copies of your objects across multiple data centers in a region to give you 11 nines of durability. Or in human terms, the chance of losing in Amazon S3 is less likely than a comet hitting the Earth. So what are some functionality? Amazon S3 stores data as objects in resources called buckets. You can store as many objects as you want in a bucket and write, read, and delete objects in your bucket. Objects can be up to 5 terabytes in size, and we replicate that data in your S3 bucket to at least 3 times across availability zones, giving you 11 nines of durability. We deny data access to S3 by default and provide granular access and control to data in S3. So what are some common uses today? Amazon S3 is used for backup and storage due to its unlimited storage and durability, application hosting to store application code for servers, media hosting for images, audio, and video on the web, and software delivery for hosting applications and assets for customers. So here, I'm logged into the AWS Management Console. We talked about some of the services and features of S3. Let's go and show some of them. So to get to S3, you can look at the Find Services here and the search. What we can do to get to S3, you can type S3, or you can type what you think it sounds like. We talked about its object storage. We can also use that to get there. So here you can see object, S3. That's going to jump us over to the S3 Management Console. So here you can see all the buckets that I have in my account. And if we scroll down, I have a public bucket configured right here. All right, so let's jump into that bucket. Inside this bucket, we have a whole bunch of content that we have. This bucket's configured to be public, right? So it makes it easy for us to go and store and deliver this content to our customers. So let's go and take a quick look at one of these. I think we have the 2018 wallpaper here. Go and click open on that. So that's loading. So we can see here, it's a very large wallpaper, so it takes a little bit of a while to load, but you can see we have content served inside of S3. In this case, just a quick little wallpaper with the AWS logo. All right, so let's jump back. So this is a public bucket. Now, by default, when you go and create a bucket in S3, it is not public by default. So I have another bucket here with those default configurations. Let's go and take a look at that one. So here, pato-demo-s3. And if we go and look at this bucket, let's say I have this object here that I want to try to download. We'll do the same thing again. When I try to open this tab, what we're going to get is this access denied. Right? That is the default configuration for S3. Right? You have to make changes to it to give access to it, like our public bucket. So how do you go and configure that? If we wanted to make this public, what I would have to do is make some changes. First, let me close this really quick. Go to permissions, and you first have to make changes to a block public access. What it is today, to make it harder for customers to make things public, we've added this as an additional layer of security so that you can't just apply public bucket policies. So today, this is all turned on, preventing any public access. So if we wanted to go and do that, we would first have to turn it off. So I'm going to go and make an edit to this really quick. We have to uncheck that. And then now it's going to allow us to apply a policy. This does not make our stuff public. It just allows us to then make it public. So I'm going to click Save on that. Confirm. So now we've allowed us to go and make it public. So actually to make it public, what we have to do is actually create a new policy. So I'm going to go to Bucket Policies. Right here you see there's nothing here. And we're going to go and use the policy generator to make this data public. So I'm going to click Open on this. That's our policy generator. First thing we want to select is what kind of policy you want to create. In this case, an S3 policy. The effect, allow, the principal, right? The principal is the who do we want to allow? In this case, we want to make it available to everyone. So I'm going to use a star there to make it available for everyone. The action and the service, so S3 as a service. The action in this case, just the get object action. Right here you can see all the different actions you can do in S3. In this case, just get object. The ARN, which is which resource we want to allow access to. In this case, we want that bucket. So I need to go and grab that from our bucket. So I'm going to go back to the previous tab. I'm going to scroll up a little bit, and here's the ARN for that bucket. Go and grab that really quick. Jump back. Put that in there. And what we want to do is not just the bucket, but the contents in it. So I'm also going to do /* to allow all the objects inside of it as well. Click Add Statement, then click Generate Policy, and that's going to generate the policy for us right there. So here you can see the policy. I'm going to copy this. We're going to jump back over to our console, drop it inside, and save it. So now the bucket is public. You can see this. There's a little warning here saying that the bucket is public access. All right, this makes it easy so we know which buckets we have that are public or which are not. Right, so now let's go back to our objects and see if we can go and access some images. Right, so we can download this speech file if I want to, but I'm going to go and show an image. This is a picture of me. Click Open on that. And here you can see it's a very high resolution picture of me that we use for the profile for this class. So that's an example of how you can make your buckets public, an example of that there. All right, so I'm going to close that. Now, another cool thing about S3, right? While we're sitting here, S3 supports versioning. It's not turned on by default, right? You have to turn it on if you want it. In this case, we see one image here, in which we only see the current one. But what we can do is we can click Show Versions here, and I can download older versions of this image. I think there's a fun one from here. I think this is a picture of me back when I was in college. All right, so we can go and open that up. Oh, in this case, it's not allowed. I remember because when we set it up, we didn't give permissions for get object versions, right? So here we don't have those permissions. We would have to add that. So I'm going to go back to the policies. We can go back to our account, permissions. We're going to go and add that instead. So I'm going to go to bucket policies. We're going to go and add that here. All right. Or we're going to use the policy generator. Find get object version to allow those permissions. Then grab the ARN again. Add statement, generate the policy, and we can grab that here. All right. So jump that in, drop that back in here, make sure that we allow all the objects, click Save, and that's going to set that up. And then if we go and retry grabbing that object again with the image of me, we can see here, picture of me back in college with long hair. All right. So that's object versions. That's versioning inside of S3. All right, if you want to turn on versioning, you have to go to Properties, click on Versioning, and enable it here. Now, you can't turn off versioning once you turn it on. Once you turn on versioning, you only can go into a suspend state, which means that we're going to overwrite new versions of your objects instead of creating new ones every single time. All right, one last feature that we're going to go do, which is static websites. I'm going to jump back over to S3. We're going to go over to my static website sitting over down here. Here we can see we have an S3 bucket configured to be public with some objects sitting here that are for our web application, some HTML and some CSS. And I've configured this bucket to be a static website by configuring static website hosting and enabling it here with all traffic going into our index HTML when they go to our endpoint. So we can open this up, and you can see here we have a static website hosted on S3. Those are some features of S3. I hope you learned something. Let's go back to our slide deck. What is Amazon S3 Glacier? Amazon S3 Glacier and Amazon S3 Deep Glacier is a secure, durable, and extremely low-cost Amazon S3 Cloud storage class for data archiving and long-term backup. Today, Amazon S3 Glacier is used for archiving of media assets, healthcare information, and scientific data, and is used as a magnetic tape replacement. Amazon S3 Glacier lock policy. Amazon S3 Glacier also has Vault Lock, which allows you to enforce which once sent cannot be changed data retention for regulatory and compliance standards. Amazon S3 storage classes. Today, many customers centralize their data in Amazon S3 while reducing the cost of storage using storage classes. This allows organizations to simplify their data storage and management. In this slide, there are various tiers you can choose from. Amazon S3 Standard gives the most durable with 3 copies across multiple availability zones. Amazon S3 Standard Infrequent Access, or IA, reduces the cost of storage in return for a retrieval fee. Amazon S3 Intelligent Tiering tracks data usage and automatically moves it between tiers to optimize storage costs. Amazon S3 One Zone IA reduces the number of copies to just 1, which is great for computed or generated items. Amazon S3 Glacier and Deep Glacier we talked about earlier. The cool thing is that you can automate the transition of data across tiers using Amazon S3 lifecycle policies. So here, we can see an example of how you can use Amazon EC2, Amazon EBS, and Amazon S3 to host a simple web application in the AWS Cloud. Amazon EC2 can host our web application, storing database files in an Amazon EBS volume and static content such as images in an Amazon S3 bucket. Secure your data. Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, or Amazon VPC, lets you provision a logically isolated section of the AWS Cloud where you can launch AWS resources in a virtual network that you define. You have complete control over your virtual networking environment, including selection of your own IP address ranges, creation of subnets, and configuration of route tables and network gateways. Amazon VPC is a service that allows us to create virtual networks, which we also call VPCs. By default, a newly created VPC is completely isolated from the world, and you get complete control over the IP address ranges, subnet, and configuration of route tables and network gateways. Security groups. A security group acts like a virtual firewall in VPC. It controls the traffic flow in and out of EC2 instances. The default configuration or rules block all inbound and allow all outbound traffic, but you can configure these rules as needed. Security groups are stateful, allowing outbound requests to receive inbound responses. Here, we can see an example of 3 security groups in a tiered configuration to restrict and allow traffic between the web, application, and database tiers. In review, in this module, we introduced AWS products and services. We also discussed how these services can assist you with your AWS Cloud infrastructure and how you can use tools AWS provides to build according to your business needs. Some of these services and details we referred to including Amazon EC2, instance types, and Amazon EBS, which provides block storage for Amazon EC2. Finally, we talked about storing and securing your data with services such as Amazon S3 and Amazon Glacier, and using networking components such as VPCs and subnets. We also discussed securing your hosted instances with tools such as security groups.